Thank you, and thank you. The standing ovation was not for me. Standing ovation was for you. The standing ovation is for what you have done to get in this room. And I have to tell you that I'm gonna get to this in a second, but a personal brand is what somebody says about you when you're not in the room. And I have to tell you that the name Brendan Bouchard was kind of like Mufasa. Ooh. I'm telling you, I had heard this man's name far before I knew who he was. That, my friends, is a personal brand, and a powerful one at that. So my goal here is to speak for about 25 minutes to lay the foundation, and then we'll have an opportunity to workshop. Because what I have heard and what I have seen is that people step on these stages, and the first question that people have, rightly so, is why? Why should I listen to you? What will you give me? And I understand that, but let me just call it for what it is. Here are 3 reasons why you might want to stop listening to me now. Number 1, I am uneducated. I do not have an MBA. I do not have fancy letters after my name. All I know is I talk about what I have done. Take it or leave it. Number 2, why you might want to stop listening to me is I am unconnected. I am the daughter of an immigrant. I'm the first generation Latina. I don't know. Thank you. Yes. We cheer for that, but many of us are immigrants, maybe not of heritage, but of emotional ascension, of doing the work to become sojourners of the family who we came from and we're so thankful for, and yet we are breaking out to become somebody new. So while we are at the front of it, please do not ask me for a connection, because I am not in the country club. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the club, yes. It's just not that of the country. Number 3, I'm gonna tell you quite honestly that I am uncomfortable. I will tell you that I am a nobody doing something to serve somebody. And if I can do this and be okay with it, I hope you can do the same. That's my entire goal. Thank you. Now, there is one reason why you might open your ears and listen. I'm here to tell you that having nothing and being no one has served and allowed me to build a brand worth millions. And the good thing is that it didn't cost me a penny. What I see a lot happening is people talk about building a personal brand, which I love, but it's kind of like nebulous. It's like this amoeba of an idea. Because what I see happen a lot, but it has not happened here because Brendan went through content, did he not? Good. Okay, so then what we're not gonna have is the emotion of build a personal brand, it's not AI, woohoo! And then the tactic, and here's the funnel. And people are like, but nobody's actually commenting. How do I get them from the woohoo personal brand to you and my funnel? Where is that? I would like to bridge that gap a little bit more. So all I'm doing is I'm just a sweeper. I hail from a long lineage of gardeners and housekeepers. I am okay with the broom. I will gladly sweep behind Brendan Bouchard. Yes. Let's get into some content. So before we talk about the how, because here is the thing, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've had the privilege of being able to speak to other people, and I think if I share the how and the what, and this is it, then clearly people will go back home and do the very thing. Okay, but this is why 98% of people won't even start. And it's this crazy little thing that nobody here will call self-doubt because it takes a disguise. And self-doubt takes a sneaky disguise in 3 types of ways. 3 types of ways that stop you from building a personal brand. And when I talk to you about building a personal brand, you're like, listen, I got so much in my life. The last thing that I'm gonna do in my coaching business is build a personal brand. I get it, but how about for those of y'all who are simple folk like myself, is how to make more money online. Okay, because the reason I do this is not to feel good or have kicks and giggles, although that's great. What I am doing is really facilitating a way that makes your business impervious to anything, any social platform, any algorithm, any AI, any ad structure. You are impervious when you have a personal brand. That, my friends, is worth millions. Now, we stop ourselves from doing these things, but it's disguised in one type of self-doubt. There are 3 types. Where do you fall in? The overthinker. You are the kind of person who will pack a parachute for the parachute. You list all the things and all the things you must do to get the results that you want, and then all of a sudden, after looking at everything that could go wrong, because you've clearly analyzed everything, you're like, whew, so glad I didn't do that. Saved myself some time. That's self-doubt. The second type of self-doubt is treading water. Now, I have to say these are not my ideas. These belong to Sade Sarai. We had this amazing conversation, and she broke this down. I said, with your permission, I need to share this with this crew. And she said, please. We all must identify. Now, Sade studies high-performing professionals and top athletes. And everybody, from the White House to the warehouse struggles with these types of 3 self-doubt. Just because we're life coaches doesn't necessarily mean that we don't struggle from it. The second form of self-doubt is treading water. These are the type of people who love buying another course, even though they haven't finished the 17 before. Intentions are beautiful and great, and you're passionate. Not finishing is self-doubt. The third type of self-doubt, well, this is destination obsessed. This is the kind of person who will, when the ball is at the 1-yard line, with sheer empirical force, will push the end zone so far away to say, I have not done enough, without ever taking the second to say, my Lord, I just ran the ball 49 yards on my own. If you are an overthinker, here's the thing. People are like, wait, why are you talking about self-doubt when we're here talking about personal brand? Because the very thing that will stop you from doing the thing that I know works, that I know is worth millions, has nothing to do with the knowledge, and has nothing to do with the information, and has nothing to do with resources. Before ever you will do this or this must get right. So, if you are an overthinker, here is an action item, because all I want you is to do. Make a list of everything that could go wrong, and then only circle the facts. Ooh, that list got real small. And of the things you had circled, you now have an action plan to beat and safeguard the very thing you wanted to do. Number 2, if you're the type of treading water, the person who likes to start things, well, then what we need to do is find the meaning. You started this for something, go back to that. Go back to the charity, go back to the desire, go back to you being the first in your family, you go back to the reason you wanted to create a legacy for your children, you go back because what you need to do is just do. This is less about the progress and more about the process. When you focus on the process, you get progress. But this is where the struggle becomes. It's the process that just gets a little too hard. For those of us who are destination obsessed, this is the sneakiest form of self-doubt. Oh, you want to know what? It is never enough until you bring somebody with you. Because it is those people who look at you in the face and say, I will remind you for how far you have come. It is time for you to take a break and take a deep breath, because even if you are not where you want to be, there was a day that you wished you were standing and sitting in this very seat. That's right. So what do we need to do? Just do. Action is the antidote to fear. So what must you do? And then do that. Because once you make the decision that self-doubt will not get in your way, now it's time to build your brand. Okay, so I should also mention that I'm a law school dropout. Yes, got a full ride scholarship, realized life was miserable. My mom had a relapse with brain cancer, and then I realized, oh, this is a little too much. So when I realized that life was too short and I needed to figure out what I really wanted to do with my one wild and amazing precious life, I realized I ain't got much. But I think, looking back, I understood how to make people feel something. That's it. Friends, we do not need the fanciest website, the coolest logo, a content pillar that's multiplied over multiple platforms. You do not need a team of 15. What you need to do is make somebody feel something. Because a brand is what somebody says about you when you're not in the room. How many people have had your name on their lips? If it's not 5, it better be 10 by the end of the day. And you do not get your name on their lips by telling them all the things you know, or the things you have done, or the awards that you have, or how much money you have, or how, oh, have you seen my funnel? We don't care. How did you make them feel? That right there is your brand. This is the thing that we all can do, and it doesn't cost anything. So what we want to do, this idea of making somebody feel something, is what we need to do online on behalf of your business. When you do that, now we're cooking with fire. But how then, what does that look like? Well, I'm gonna make it as simple as possible. Let's get the wheels on this bus. Let's do it in 3 simple E's. We want to make sure that the content that Brendan has so powerfully educated you on is falling into 3 main things: education, empowerment, or entertainment. Ask yourself, when I create a blog post, when I make a video, when I put something out on social, does it fall into one of these 3 categories? This is statistical. This is what Instagram, let's just use Instagram for the sake of this conversation, has denoted as the 3 top best performing things. Just ask yourself, does it fall in one of these 3 buckets? You're gonna have a higher likelihood of engagement. So if then we do that, we have to understand that once we're doing these things, if anybody were to ever reach out as a lead, they're going to be a warmer lead if they're engaging with you. Yes or no? Yes. We have to sell less when somebody cares. We have to sell less when somebody is interested. This is what good content does. So if we know that a brand is built on what somebody feels, then you should be creating content that people want to consume. If you have thought rather recently in the last 30, 60, or 90 days, the algorithm's out to get me. I have been shadow banned. This, nobody's responding because nobody's saying it. It's the content. The algorithm's agnostic. It doesn't know you and it doesn't care. This is the way any algorithm, which is how all social platforms are built, works. You put out a post, it will show it to about 2% of your followers organically, depending on the amount of people who engaged with that post. If a percentage of them are liking or commenting, saving or sending as a post, it's an indication to the algorithm, this nameless beast, that people like it and they think it's interesting. We should show it to more people. As they show it to more people, if people engage the same way, guess what happens? It shows it to more people. That is the exact definition of virality. Things that you see that have gone viral only mean they're really rich. Only mean they're skinny. Only mean they're young. No. When something goes viral, it simply means that people liked it and left comments in abundance, and so it showed it to more people. If you are not getting your post seen, it is the content. Ooh, ow, I know, people are like, where's Brendan? Bring him back. So how about this? You wanna know what a criticism is? It's telling you you're doing something wrong. And a critique is, how can we find ways to get it better? How about we just do a deep dive diagnostic on our own? So this is gonna be the 4-step framework. I'm gonna break it down for you. We have about 15 minutes. Number 1, we're gonna choose a content category. Number 2, we're gonna choose the content type. Number 3, we're gonna create a compelling caption. And number 4, we're going to engage. I am talking about this because I don't want to teach you. I am talking about this because I need you to do. If you want to grow your brand in 2023, AKA if you would like to make more money, these are the 4 things that you can do. Number 1 is to choose a content category. But I don't want to overwhelm you, because here's the thing. I want you to make this your own, and you will. But until you're making your own, you must reserve the right to not have an opinion about what I am to suggest. Because people love to have opinions without doing the work. My mom is the kind of the woman who will buy like 18 diet books and say, you should not eat peanut butter. I was like, Mom, you're eating peanut butter. I know, but you should not eat peanut butter. Okay, I don't want people having an opinion if the content isn't really banging. 7 content categories. And guess what? There's 7. If somebody would so choose to just apply one of these content categories each day of the week, or making it simple. How are these content categories derived? Well, on the inside of Social Curator, working with over 35,000 business owners, we have discovered and seen analytically the types of posts that do best, not for anybody, for a business owner. People want to see behind the scenes. And you're like, my cat in my fuzzy socks? Yes, they do. People are like, I don't know how to create a lead. Okay, so why don't on Instagram stories, you just say, what title do you like, this one or this one, and have them vote. And for every single person who votes for option A, you send them a DM. I love this title, great. I'm hosting a future class, would you like to come? For everybody who voted for option B, I love this, thank you so much. I'm hosting a masterclass, would you like to come? This is what we do, ladies and gentlemen. Step number 2 is to choose the content type. And this is where everybody gets stuck in the weeds, because they're like, Instagram's like holding a gun to my head and I have to make reels. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you straight out that a terrible reel will not perform as well as a good photo. It is the content. Now, is Instagram at this particular point in time indexing a little bit more towards reels? Perhaps. So, we get a little interesting. We get a little creative. You could, quite honestly, here is the greatest hack for creating a reel. Number one, you're in Huntington Beach, California. This is like Instagram eye candy because there's the beach and there's palm trees and there's this beautiful area outside. So if you would like to create a reel, here is a 20-second tutorial that's all audible and verbal. What you're gonna do is you're gonna create a 2-second video clip of a palm tree, a 2-second video clip of an ocean, a 2-second video clip, because y'all know you guys look real good. Everybody's looking real good today. 2-second video clip. A 2-second video clip of the crowd, a 2-second video clip of Brendan, and if you're feeling extra generous, a 2-second video clip of me, and then what you're gonna do is go to Instagram Reels and you're gonna put in 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. You're gonna add a trending song, bada boom, bada bang. You talk about what you're doing. Why? Because we're going back to one of our content categories, which is behind the scenes. Coaches get coached. You are essentially telling people the thing you want them to do. Invest in themselves. But show that I'm getting coached? Yeah, absolutely. And how will you do this? By way of a photo, by way of a long-form video, a short-form video, a carousel. The 5 things I learned at Coaching Summit. Oh, carousels are killing it, y'all. Carousels are killing it. Stories. You're here. You can say, at the Brendan Burchard event, here are the 3 things I learned today. That's it. You go and do another story, and you write it out in text. People are like, I'm so uncomfortable on camera. Yeah, well, you want somebody to hire you via Zoom. Get used to it. I know. People are like, who is this girl? Listen, I am the daughter of a Mexican-American USMC jarhead. I was raised, hoorah, that's right, Semper Fi. I was raised that you will either find reasons for your success or an excuse why you didn't do it. So this is how I've been shaped. And my mom was Puerto Rican, so I talk fast, or you listen slow. I don't know. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're gonna get action into movement. We have days 1 through 7 because your girl is super simple. And what do I want you to do? Kiss it. Keep it simple, you beautiful, amazing, beautiful soul. That's what we're going to do. So you can denote if you're just like, I don't want to do this. Test me. Test me. Try this. Prove me wrong. And when I'm right, you can buy me a margarita. Here's the thing, I'm stacking the odds. I'm like playing poker in Vegas. You are going to lose to the house. Why? Because you're probably posting once every 8 days. Yeah. And let's just say you got 25 likes and 2 comments. And let's just say over 7 days, totality, you're like, it's not getting as many likes. In totality, baby boo, you got more. House always wins. Okay, step 3, create compelling caption. And this is where everybody gets stuck. Here, we can talk about our business with ease. We love what we do. We got in the game and we see the manifestations of the work that we have put forward. We have taken our life experiences, the work that we've invested ourselves, and we want so desperately for somebody to have the same transformation, and then you open up an app and you're on LinkedIn and you're like, purr. Here's a very simple way for us to take action. The HIC formula. If you've noticed, step 1, 2, and 3 are all frameworks. We're all just gonna do the work. You need to stop somebody with a hook. This happens in a video, this happens in a podcast, this happens in a blog post, this happens in a social media post. And now that captions are getting truncated across all social platforms, you need to get somebody to click on the read more. If you get somebody to click on the read more, it is an indication to the algorithm of interest. Facts. I will take that. But what do we see? In Huntington Beach, feeling blessed. Now, I know your captions bomb and you have a really great CTA to get that free freebie. Ain't nobody getting to that point. Can I tell you a secret? Exactly, click more. Okay. Insights, 2 to 3 things that make you special. Because at the end of the day, there are over 500 people in this room selling me, an unknowing consumer, the same thing. Why am I gonna hire you? I got my pick of the litter. I don't care how many tiered or layers investments you have made into this organization. None of that means nothing to me because I don't understand the ecosystem. Why am I gonna hire you as a life coach, as a business coach, as a relationship coach? Is because something about you resonates with me. Not how much schooling you have, your pedigree, who your daddy was, or your great-grandpappy, or that your family came off the Mayflower means nothing. But we don't talk about ourselves because people don't want to read about this. I'm not that interesting. Guess what? There's other not interesting people who want to work with not interesting people. I mean, facts. Let's just be real. But my truth is that we're all interesting to people in different ways. We just have to find our people. Without sharing your insights, you are robbing God, the universe, of what you have been put on this earth to do, because what you want to do is hide your light under a basket and say, oh no, I am not here and not enough. And I am here to say, you must rattle the basket until it falls so that your light burns it away and say, this is who I am, this is who I'm for, take it or leave it. There is a digital door. You chose to come to me. I did not come to you. If you don't like it, unfollow, unsubscribe, and block me, please. Let's get into a call to action. What do you want this person to do? Sign up for your funnel, leave a comment, a suggestion, a quiz, an opinion, a recommendation. You will have a great post, but if you don't have somebody do something, there's no engagement. Somebody could read your post, you could bring them to tears and say, I just love this person so much. What do you want them to do? It is the doing that pushes the engagement. Step number 4 is to actually engage. Now, this is gonna be the most powerful thing because this is gonna be the thing that we need to do to build your personal brand. But oftentimes people are like, okay, but nobody's coming to me. Guess what? Nobody will come to you until you go to them again and again and again and again. So how can we do this? How can we create personal connections in an online world? Because we're talking about building a personal brand that makes somebody feel something. Friends, I cannot tell you how important it is to do your best to respond to comments. People care. You want a client to spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 with you? You're gonna have a harder time converting them if you don't even pay attention to the comment. That's simple things. Send direct messages, social stories. So people come here like, yes, but I don't know what to say. So everybody, I'm gonna share 3 direct messages. These are the 3 things I need you to do today. It is a template. Hi, I noticed you recently, liked my photo, voted on a poll, and I want to take a moment to say thank you. I love meeting new followers. Take it, rip it, let's go. Template number 2. Hi, I saw your recent post because nobody's DMing you or leaving comments, no problem. You're gonna go to your followers list and then Price is Right, scroll through it, stop on somebody, go to their post, like 3 photos and leave a comment, and then you're gonna send them a direct message. You're not a stranger, they follow you. And what you're gonna say is this: I saw your recent post about this. Not like, I think it's cute. It's, oh, I noticed you went to France. What was your favorite thing? Be social on social media? Yes. Template number 3, thank you so much for the engagement you gave me. What we're doing, we're teaching people how we want them to engage with us. So in review, okay. Y'all too slow. Anybody from the hood was like, psh, got there. Come on, y'all. All right, I'm moving on. In review, the 4-step framework. Choose a content category, choose your type, create a compelling caption using the HIC formula, and give the engagement that you want ultimately. Because you know why we need to do this? And I just told you how, a very simple way to get how. Let's get down and dirty, let's do the work. Now let's focus on the what. What we're going to do is gonna get into a brief Q&A so that I can connect the dots. I asked Brendan specifically, I was like, hey, can I get questions? Because what happens is that people come up with questions that are casually disguised as excuses. So what we need to do is we need to break them down. Okay, now here's the thing. Here's 3 reasons why it's gonna sit like crickets, and I'm gonna sit in the silence until somebody has the bravery to ask the question. People say, I'm just not outgoing. Okay, you're a coach, so how about we try this on? I am willing to do things I don't want to do to get where I want to go. It's just a decision. Number 2, I'm awkward. No problem, but I believe that you know that you're gonna do things, and you're gonna learn how to get better Because you're gonna do things that others won't. You must do things that other people won't to get the results that other people don't. Number 3, you know what, Jasmine? I don't have time. I don't wanna sit in this Q&A because you're gonna give me one more thing to do. No problem. But then instead of you saying, I don't have time, I need you to replace that with, it's not important to me. Try it on. That's okay. I am not a proponent for social media. Next week, if you tell me that deep sea diving is how you build a business, watch me put a scuba on, or walk back in the ocean. Hey, why? Because building a business and a brand and a legacy and building something that my grandparents and parents came to this country to do is not an honor, it is a mandate. It is a mandate for us to leave a better future for the people who are coming behind us. If it is not important to you, no worries. Own it. You're in control of your personal brand, and I am here to empower you to do that. I would love if we had microphones coming up, and I'm gonna depend on the AV team. I have about 4 minutes. Is this 4 minutes for the totality of the presentation, or is 4 minutes for the presentation? Ooh, I got a little time to spare. All right, we're gonna get into mics. If anybody would like to ask a question, we're gonna go into quick flash fire Q&A. Ask me anything. Whatever's coming up, this is my opportunity to say yes and get us to where we need to go. And what we're gonna do is, I believe we have 2 mics. I would like to get another person on deck. We'll start here, and then we'll bring a mic right on over here. Beautiful. Hi.
Hi. Would you do a call to action on every story, post, reel? Everything has a call to action. And with that, second part would be of how much of the time would that call to action be to sell?
Beautiful. So I believe, so every post has a CTA, but 80%, 85%, 90% of my CTAs are gonna be in-platform communication. I need to outgive before I ask. And oftentimes, I am not selling directly in the post. I'm leading to personalized engagement, and I do most of the selling via DM. So 90% is, hey, what's going on? Great. The CTA, respond to the comment, which leads to a higher likelihood of them responding in a story. And when they respond in a story, it turns up as a what? A DM. And then the DM, which has nothing to do with your business, and you're going to invest time because you're playing the long, long, long game, is how you're gonna cultivate that. Because when they trust that you will spend time with them in your DMs, they trust that you will follow up on email and phone and what they invested in. Thank you. There's another question here, and we'll get the mic pass. Okay, great, perfect.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you.
So we've talked a lot today, or in the past 3 days, about having like a professional outlook as for your coaching. And so one of the things I think I get caught up in is making sure my feed looks really pretty. And I want to know from you how much you think it's important to make sure what you're putting out looks good, or whether the content just needs to be great and it doesn't matter what you look like and what the feed looks like.
I will answer this on the back of knowing who your ideal client is. If your ideal client is a professional woman who is 47 and her kids are out of the nest and she has broken every glass ceiling, there's a good chance she doesn't want to see you in a messy bun with your dog and kids running in the background.
Right.
Now, if you're a coach of a young mom who's getting her kids off to preschool and is wanting to take the next avenue in her life, she might have a lot more grace for whatever is going on. So we make our decisions based on who we're trying to serve and the extension of the brand thereafter.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And we'll take another question on this side, if you can raise your hand. Yes.
Can you share some insights about YouTube? Because a lot of your content was on Instagram. What would you be doing for YouTube? Like to expand and to scale?
I love this question. Okay, so if I had to do it over again, I would go heavy on YouTube. I saw distinctly the growth and but it played to my assets. I like to write. I am a writer, and I like to take photos. I am a photographer, and so Instagram, I was just like, this is my space, this is where I'm dwell. This is the fastest reach for me to grow my business, and it was. Now, as I've elevated and am changing, I do believe that the long-term viability of YouTube far supersedes anything else. Whoa. And YouTube Shorts is a game changer because what you can do is get a long form video and create 2 to 3 YouTube Shorts that point back to the YouTube long. And I subscribe to the belief that far before anybody will watch a 6 to 8 minute video from you, you gotta hook them to 6 to 8 seconds. So the idea for me is not like, oh, I'm only gonna create long form videos. It's I have to create a diversified approach. I will create a couple YouTube Shorts or an Instagram Reel that I will turn over to a YouTube, but I will not have it branded. I will not use a YouTube Short that has the Instagram logo on it. I wanna make sure that the content looks native to the platform. I will use that as a way to attract attention to my YouTube channel where I can go longer and deeper in that style of content. So what is my approach? I'm going to be growing that in 2023. I try to post at least twice a week on YouTube, in addition to at minimum 1 YouTube Short. We're on a hiatus as we're building this brand back up. We stopped 3 weeks ago because we needed to have like a come to Jesus moment and be like, this is the whole restructure. So thank you for the question. That is what we're doing moving forward and has what somewhat been the case a little bit ad hoc in the past. Thank you. Yes.
So, good afternoon. You have been fantastic. I think everybody here was so happy everything we did for us. So,
thank you.
You're being more than amazing. So, I follow you and I see that you're kind of funny. How important do you think it should be funny for the people to follow you? I think sometimes people are very
My husband's
serious.
in the room. He thinks I'm funny. He thinks I'm funny. My husband does not think I'm funny. He's just like, I was like, okay, proof, thank you. What do I do that? I don't know. I truly come from a family of storytellers. We all talk with our hands and we talk very fast, and people come into our house and they say, why is everybody yelling? I was like, tengo pasión. I'm not yelling. You just need to come with it. But it's just who I am. And here's the thing, I have to say, you think I'm funny, and I will tell you about 14 people who are looking at me like this. They don't think I'm funny, and that's okay. They need to change their sense of humor, but that's okay. They'll have somebody else. You gotta own you, and you gotta, what do you find funny? And then try it. And guess what? You're gonna fall on your face. You're gonna fall on your face again, and again, and again, and again. And I see you wearing some sort of sports regalia, and during the World Cup, you could talk about, okay, I know the United States and Mexico, like we're out, so I'm like, so, what would it look like for you to say, what I want you to feel is like this, and then the audio sound, gol, golazo, 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 and all you say is, what I want as your coach is to feel like this, and all you have to do is like, that's 3 seconds, and get some views, baby. Some people will think it's not funny, and some people will. And you're gonna do it again and again and again until you find who you are. The goal is not to be funny. The goal is to be you. That will sell. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Jasmine, love what you're sharing. Many of the conversations I've had here today, coaches have talked about social media managers.
Yes.
For finding resources for creation.
Yes.
What do you recommend of where to go to find these people to support the content that you have, but to create it and scale it? How Brennan was talking about posting 4 times.
I love this. And God, is he saying 4 times? Oh, I gotta up that. So let me answer the question with a little bit of a framework. The reason it is so difficult for people to find social media managers is because the system has not been created. And so what happens is we invite people in and we make the Messiah hire. Save me. I'm good. So I did this live on Instagram, so you know, repurpose it, make it a reel. That's not a strategy. What we need to do is sit in the suck, which is where I am on YouTube. I am sitting in the suck of breaking the system to rebuild the system. It is only when I rebuild the system that I can bring somebody in. And I am telling you, I am counting the days. I am doing everything on all platforms across the board right now. I gotta sit in it before I bring somebody in. I will always own 1 to 2 platforms. I post, I engage, I handle it, because in my mind, this is R&D. Your next $100,000 or $1 million idea is sitting in your DMs. Every business that I had built has come on the idea of somebody asking me a question, and I was like, oh, skirt, I can do this. So I will not abdicate all of social, but that's just my personal recommendation. If that's not your jam, no worries. I will own one, and I will act as the content pillar. So what I would do is what we're currently building out right now is I will write a blog post, I will write a podcast, I will write a long-form video script. 3 content pillars that are long form. And then from there, so let's just say I am creating a long form video script. And then from there, what I'll do is I'll create a post for Facebook, a post for LinkedIn, a post for Instagram, a vertical video for Instagram, and a horizontal video for YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And so now that I have stood at the top of the content pillar, I say, I own Instagram, and what we're gonna have is somebody come in, and the content's already done. They just gotta go over here. And what I'm doing is working smarter but harder, breaking it. Now, the better the system, the lower you have to pay somebody. It is the person who you have to pay a premium to do the thinking for you, and you're not looking for a social media manager, you're looking for a marketing manager, and you're gonna pay a lot different for that. And people say, oh, I have a social media marketing manager, and it's VA. Please know that that is not at all what you have. So there is the VA, which if you have a good system, best. You have the social media manager where you've kind of done it and you're like, I think I just need somebody to come in and systematize it and you tell me what to do. And then you have the social media manager who's just like, you do you, I got you, and they deploy against the rest of it. How does that feel? Cool, thank you. Yes.
Awesome. Hi, Jasmine. You have been absolutely incredible. Like, I feel like this is the most that I've seen everybody hold up their phones this whole week. So thank you so much for the time. I actually had a question for somebody that's virtual. I'm just tuning in for them, and her name is Rena. And she asked, how do you know what social media handle to use? Like, should it be your actual name? Should it be your brand name, your business name? Like, how do you determine that? That'd be a great answer.
I don't have a framework for this. At the end of the day, one thing I always hold true to is that anything can be changed. Your social media handles and your pages can be changed. I just defer to make a decision. Just make a decision. With the amount of information that you have, pull the trigger, make the decision, and change and amend as possible. You know, prior to Twitter, nobody's walking around saying Twitter. Prior to Google, prior to Snapchat, these brands made these words as verbs. That's what a brand does. So how you choose, I don't know. Choose what's best. You can always change, but if you're really good, soon enough, you only need a symbol for your name, like Prince. Okay. Yes.
Hi, Jasmine. You've been great. Sorry, I got a big coaching voice. People want the how-tos, but I'm launching an aspirational, like, what's your one message you want to bring out to the world? They jump for the how-to bait like this, but how do you structure a nice social media strategy around that vision, around aspiration, and not just, here's your how-to for this, here's your how-to for that, because then it feels like it serves this level and not where people want to be seen and heard and make that difference.
So I once heard this strategy described as serve them broccoli and cover it in chocolate. Give them what they want and sell them what they need, or sell them what they want and give them what they need. How-tos will always go into one of the 3 content pillars that I had mentioned today: educate, empower, entertain. The how-tos will always do it, because what happens is the dopamine that somebody receives after watching a how-to video is almost the equivalent as them having done it. So what happens is when you make them feel good, they trust you. And when they trust you, they're more likely to engage by way of sharing your content or leaving a comment. And then it is up to you and or your team to see them and get them in your DMs. Because what happens is people will get to a point where they have watched so many how-tos, they're going to have a next level question. That is just Darwinian at its most basic form. Everybody wants to advance. Your objective is to have tiered layers of offerings. And oftentimes, somebody comes in my DMs and they're not saying, how can I give you $10,000? Never. They're like, hey, do you have branding content? And what do? I send them a link to jasminestar.com/branding, gets them on my newsletter list, and then we cultivate and get them in a funnel. 9.5 times out of 10, I'm not selling directly in the DMs. I'm gonna do a long form cultivation unless I am in a promotional period, and that's the caveat. The promotional period is I'm going really hard in the paint because for 4 months, it is just give. And when I make an offer, no hard belt, like, hey, you want information on branding? I have this offer, it's this much. Don't worry if it's not for you right now, but I'd love to answer any questions you might have. Send a voice memo, send a video, that stuff converts. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, I'm just wondering if you have a strategy or plan around kind of like the cancel culture things that can come up. Yeah, I'm afraid of harming people or just people getting mad. And I know it's easy to block, but you know, how do you deal with that? How do you have a plan and a strategy around that?
So I humbly stand on the stage and there is a little thing in my throat. I've been dragged. I thought my career was over. I was ashamed. I felt like I embarrassed my family. There were so many lies on the internet and I couldn't get out from underneath it. And I thought, I am never coming back. And I stand here today to say that what is front page news today is tomorrow's fish and chips wrapper. It is not easy. It is not easy. It is when you stand up after that everybody changes. The people who are for you, and the people who are never about you have left. And in that regard, you're better and you're stronger. However, I say this because there was a kernel of truth that somebody had said, and it turned into a wildfire, and I got dragged. I can't be 100% upset because of the 1% of truth. So I'll own that. I have apologized, I've made amends, I've done my best. Having said that, the vast majority of the haterade I receive on the daily has to do with my dance moves, my fake eyelashes, the color of my skin, my dad should go back to Mexico, my mom never had cancer, I'm lying to get sympathy of people online, that I wouldn't have got to where I had gotten if I hadn't been the recipient of favors. I know what you're intimating, and you're wrong. 3-part framework to dealing with people on the internet who have something negative to say about you. Number 1, what is this person's intention? If you are vile, if you are filled with vitriol, if you are spreading lies, I am Castro, this is my Cuba, goodbye. I have no problem deleting comments, 0. You came to me, I didn't come to you. You don't come into my house, pull your pants down, take a poop, and walk out. No, you don't. No, you don't. So, I will block and delete. However, if you have a different opinion, I will leave it. Point number 2, am I gonna delete or leave? If I decide to leave, do I respond? If you have a different opinion, I don't care, good. You like vanilla, I don't like vanilla, no problem. Great, let's have conversations. Then, if I decide to respond, I am doing it as a way to walk in integrity. Somebody on Facebook left a comment and said, you would not be where you were today if it wasn't for a litany of things. She's like, you need to say this to other people. I said, okay. Number 1, because she said no tea at the beginning. She's like, no tea, no shade. So I'm gonna believe that you were trying not to be nefarious. I'll believe that. Number 2, will I leave your comment? Yes, I will. Number 3, will I respond? Yes. Okay. I said, I have always been open about who got me here. In fact, if you go to jasminestarblog.com, you will find over 2,000 photography posts aptly listing the people who got me here where they were. And that was 16 years ago. If you would like me to continue to list the list of recipients of people who got me here, the list would be too long, but it is cited and indicted. We're gonna leave that there. And secondly, the reason why I got access to these opportunities because I did things other people wouldn't. I was unqualified, unconnected, unfunded. And you wanna know what I did? I babysat for photographers just to get in the room. I packed boxes of their photography studios. I set up photo booths. I went to trade shows. I was a top salesperson to sell photo gear. Why? I believed in it. If you have somebody who's selling for you, you raise them up and you speak to them and you cultivate them. I was given nothing. I worked for it and I will thank them, but do not come here and expect me to say, you're right. No. No. I think on that note, I got a couple of minutes left. So what I'm gonna do is leave you with this. We will always find a reason that we are unqualified. We will always find somebody else who does what we want to do, and they probably do it better, faster, they charge less, they have a bigger team, they live in a better zip code, and they're 10 years younger. We will always find a reason why we are not educated enough, why we haven't done enough, why our funnels aren't the cleanest, why our opt-ins aren't the best, or we're unafraid or afraid to go online. Our kitchens are too dark. Our video equipment is too old. I'm shooting with the iPhone 8. We will find all of those reasons, and to all of them, I want to remind you, there is somebody who is doing more with less. And if we just believe that we want it bad enough, and we believe that we have been put on this space and on this earth to do something that was greater than we ever thought was possible, then the only thing that you can do, and the greatest gift that you could give yourself, is to step into that. And that is a dark, nebulous, universal black room. And it is only when you get into the room that you become the light to illuminate things around you. The room will not light up without you. So if you are expecting the path to be illuminated, I am telling you, please stop walking. You are the light. You must step out to show other people what you are doing. So if you are unqualified, unconnected, too black, too white, too young, too old, too rich, too poor, there is somebody who's 2 steps behind you who says, I want that. And you become what they need. And you illuminate the light for them. So it's your choice, friends. You choose to be the light. You have that power. I want to say thank you so much. Thank you.
Need shorty, what you want? I got what you need.